Hi everyone, let's solve the first question from today's weekly contest, that is merge two 2D arrays by summing values. So in this question we are given two 2D integer arrays nums1 and nums2, and nums1 I represents id of I and value of I, and similarly nums2 also represent that. So that means the first element of the vector that we will have inside of this nums1, right, it will contain an id and a value, right, corresponding to that particular id. Now each array contains unique ids and is sorted in ascending order by id. So what we have to do, we have to merge the two arrays into one array that is sorted in ascending order by id, respecting the following conditions. First, only IDs that appear in at least one of the two arrays should be included in the resulting array, and each ID should be included only once, and its value should be the sum of values of this ID in two arrays. If the ID does not exist in one of the two arrays, then its value in that array is considered to be 0. Now we have to return the resulting array, and the returned array must be sorted in ascending order by ID. So let's first understand the meaning of the question. So let's take the first test case here. So we are given this, right? Yeah. So we are given this nums1 and nums2. So what does this first element represent? So if I can write nums1 as 1, 2, 2 and 3 and 4, 5. Right? So these elements 1, 2 and 4, these are the IDs. Similarly, if I write nums2 this way also, we will get 1, 4. Then we have 3, 2, right? So let's write it here, 3, 2 and 4, 1. Okay. So we are given something like this. So in these are IDs, as I said, these are the IDs. But if you see, you have an ID 2 here inside of nums1. So corresponding to 2, here we can assume that we have a 0 value. Alright, and similarly in this array nums1, let me erase this. So also erase this line. Let's write it again. It was also for 3. We don't have 3 ID in nums1, right? So we'll assume that 3 has 0 corresponding to it, and the other value is 4 and 5, right? So now if you see, we have to merge these, right? Corresponding to their IDs we have to merge. So that means if we find that, okay, so we will start with one ID, right? So if we will check whether that ID is present in nums2 or not, then what we have to do, we have to keep the ID and we have to combine the values. We have to merge the values here. So we will get 6. Similarly for this part, we will again do that. So we have to, because we did not have this element with ID 2 here. So we can say that corresponding to it, we had a value 0. So we'll simply write 3 here. Similarly for 3, we did not have any ID with 3 in nums1, but it is present in nums2, right? So what we have to do, we have to take this ID, and because its corresponding value in nums1 is 0, we will say if after merging we will get this 2, right? And 4, we have the ID 4 present in both the arrays. So what we will do, we will merge these, that is add these values corresponding to that ID. So we will get this. So this is the answer that we will be getting. So I hope the question is kind of clear to you. So all we have to do is, we have to first check the ID, right? And for like we have one here, right? We have to check whether that ID is present in nums2 or not. So merging means, first of all the IDs should be present in the resulting array, right? That we saw that here we have a 3, but here in nums1 we don't have a 3. Similarly, we have a 2 in nums1, but ID 2 is not present in nums2. But in the resultant answer, 2 and 3 both should be present. Why? Because they were present in either of the arrays, right? 2 was present here and 3 was present here. So the merge result should contain all the IDs that are present either in nums1 or nums2, right? And if there is any ID which is present in both nums1 and nums2, then what you have to do, you have to take that corresponding value and add it. So you will get 6 in this case. We had 1 common in both the arrays. Similarly, we had 4 common in both the arrays. So what we did, we combined the values. So this is the merge that is being told in the question, right? Now let's see how we'll be doing it. So basically, now after the question is clear to you, this becomes easy, right? All we have to do is we have to find some way to associate these values to these IDs, right? So what we can do, one way to do it is by taking a map. So what we'll do, corresponding to each and every ID, right, the map will contain an array, right? So for example, when we have, sorry, what happened? Just a minute. Okay. Corresponding to each and every ID, the map will contain, for example, for one ID, the map should contain a vector which should contain the values in nums1 and nums2 if it is present in both, right? So we took 1, right? So corresponding to it, the value is 2 here, and corresponding to 1, the value is 4 here. So we'll do something like this. Similarly for 2, we will check. We don't have 2 here, so we will simply get only one element. Similarly for 3, we will do, what will we get? We have 3 is not in nums1, but it is in nums2, so we'll get 2, right? And then we will be having 4. Corresponding to 4, what we will have? We will have 5, 1. Now if you see, it becomes very easy, right? All you have to do is, you have to append this first value in our resultant array, right? For the first element of this particular array, we will take the first element of this map and put it inside of this. Then we will do what? We will add these two values inside of this vector here. So we'll get 6. Similarly, we will put 2 here, and we will put 3 here, right? 3 and 2, right? And 4. Along with 4, we have to add these two values and put here. So that is the only logic to solve the problem. That is associating these IDs with the elements corresponding to that particular ID in nums1 and nums2. So if there are 2 elements present, then we have to add them. Now let's see that in code. Let's go here. So I have done just that. This is our answer, that is the resultant array, that is called B. And then we have created this map, right, to associate that particular ID with the vector, right, that is the array. If it is present in nums1 and nums2, then we need to get it, right? So that will be contained in this vector. Then what we will do, we will first create this map. So what we will say, we will take the ID and we will simply take whatever value is corresponding to that inside of the vector. Similarly, we did for nums2, and then we will iterate inside of this map. What we will do, we will initialize this sum, and then we will have this for loop, right? We will check the vector here, right? And we will add all the values present inside of this vector in this sum variable, and then simply we will make the first row of this resultant array by pushing in the ith element, I dot first, right? That is the first value, that is the ID, and the sum corresponding to that particular ID, right? And we will simply return our resultant array.